Hey guys, Trevor here. Happy New Year's. I am coming down off of Hawksbill Mountain here in North Carolina. It's actually New Year's Day. As you can see, beautiful sunrise behind me. I am going to talk today a little bit about some of my winter hiking and photography essentials. So you can hear my voice a little bit hungover from New Year's Eve, but all good. Like I said, beautiful sunrise to the top of the mountain. I did check my weather apps and sort of had an idea that this is going to be a really good one. So if you haven't gotten a chance to yet, check out episode 2, where I discuss 2 of my favorite weather apps. Well, really 3 of my favorite, but I used 2 today. Otherwise, I'll check y'all in the studio. Here's a video and a couple of photos that I captured this morning. So if you're watching this video within the week that it's being released, you know that it's a few weeks past New Year's. So I don't know when the acceptable cutoff is, but it's late January at this point in time. But if you're watching this later, don't worry about it. It's still New Year's. So you can see I've worked through my hangover and I am back home, ready and excited to talk about sort of what I pack in my bag for winter hiking and photography. I'm not going to dive in really to the details on what I wear when it comes to like my top layer, my base layer, or what I wear for pants or anything like that. I'm really going to focus in on what's in my camera bag specifically and get into a couple of things that maybe are accessories that I bring along. But I'll dive in here, sort of show you each of those things that are in my bag, and then talk through some of the benefits when it comes to winter specifically and having these sorts of things in your bag. So starting out with my bag itself, it is a Burton 25-liter camera bag. I purchased it a few years ago. I don't think it's necessarily available in this model anymore. It is compartmentalized, so I can keep all of my gear organized when I'm out on the trail. It's also waterproof, which is something you're really going to want to consider if you intend on doing longer hikes where you could be caught out in a winter rainstorm, or if you're going out to shoot the snow and you're going to plop your bag down in a bank of snow. You want something that's waterproof so it's not going to soak through and ruin your gear. So first thing out of my bag is my telephoto lens. Mine is a Tamron 100 to 400 millimeter zoom lens. I do shoot, if you watch my last video, I do shoot a lot of telephoto photography specifically in the wintertime. So if I'm going on a shorter hike or just going to an overlook, I typically throw this one in my bag is one of the options that I carry with me. So if you are going out and shooting in the snow, you're definitely going to want to bring along some lens cleaner as well as a bunch of lens towels. You can never have too many of those things. They pack down really small and they're super light, and you'll use a ton of them if you're out shooting in the snow. Otherwise, I always carry around my Rocket air blower. The things are like $10 on Amazon, just for blowing off loose dust particles or that just random water drop that lands on your lens. So sticking with the theme of keeping things dry, I do keep a hard case, hard waterproof case for my memory cards in my bag. That way, if for some reason my bag does get a leak in it, or I left my bit bag open for some reason, that my memory cards and the photos on those memory cards, more importantly, are being protected from that water not getting damaged. So this one comes from experience. On occasion, when it gets super cold outside, your battery can actually malfunction within the camera. So I always do bring along 2 or 3 spare batteries. I tuck them somewhere in the center of my bag, that way they're not exposed to wind or anything like that. And sort of as a pro tip, I wrap those up with a dry towel just to keep them extra warm when we're out there in those super cold conditions. So another one learned from experience is a tripod with a rubber grip on it. The aluminum or carbon fiber, depending on what type of tripod you have. Either way, it gets extremely cold to the touch when you're out shooting in wintry conditions. So make sure you have one that has a way to sort of grab it and carry it around on location, and you're not going to freeze your fingertips off. So showing just some examples here of the one that I have and a couple of other options that are out there that sort of fit that need. So switching away from the photography gear itself and looking at some of the things that I wear on the trail to make myself as comfortable as possible during wintry conditions. Starting off with a set of gloves. I usually bring 2 sets of gloves. One are bigger gloves that I can't hold the camera with or shoot anything. But I also pack away in my bag a set of smaller gloves that have touch capabilities, where if you have a touch camera, you can still touch the screen and everything like that. Like I said, I throw those in my bag. I wear my heavier ones out on the trail and then just switch them when I get up to my location. And since I'm switching gloves back and forth, and I know some photographers get frustrated with their gloves, they take them off, they shoot, put them back on, I always throw a couple of sets of hand warmers in the bag. If you're out on the trail for any moment of time, it's inevitable that your hands are going to get cold. So just throwing those in as a safety net in case you get to that point where you can't feel your hands anymore. Then at least you have those hand warmers in there. Throw them in your gloves while you hike or take a break, and it'll warm your hands up so you're ready to go. Of course, you need a beanie or a dozen in my case. I guess I have a little bit of an obsession, but to protect your ears. One of the most vulnerable parts of your body outside your fingertips. You want to make sure that keep your ears warm so you can enjoy a longer day out there shooting and hiking. One of my favorite articles of clothing for winter hiking is my buff. I use it more of like a neck gaiter, just to protect that gap between your jacket and the rest of your neck to stay warm. If you start to get a little sweaty, it works as sort of a headband to keep the sweat off of your face. Like I said, super versatile piece of clothing. Of course, if you're hiking in the snow or you're going to be doing some creek crossings in the winter when the water's incredibly cold, you're going to want a good pair of waterproof boots. Mine are Merrell Moabs, but there's a ton of good options out there. It's a worthwhile investment. They can be a little bit expensive, but spend the money and your feet will thank you. So I'm not going to show you how I put these on because it is a bit like wrestling an alligator, but a good pair of micro spikes or crampons for your boots if you're going to be out on a trail that has the potential to be icy or snow along the way. Anytime in the winter, you can start off on a trail, and if you're gaining elevation on that trail, you have that risk of ice up at the higher elevations. So it's always best just to, if you're not going to put them on your shoes at the trailhead, just bring them along in your bag just in case. The ones that I have here are Yaktrax that I bought off of Amazon, but again, there's a number of good options out there. Younger me would have said that trekking poles are a little bit nerdy, but now that I'm a bit older, I understand the value of them. Especially in hiking in icy or snowy conditions. Make sure you're buying ones that have a good metal spike at the end so that you're able to dig into the trail. I also like these ones that are the clamps to open them up as opposed to the ones that you twist. Especially when it's cold out there. Nothing worse than how you have to do with my tripod. Nothing worse than having to twist those open. I'd rather just be able to open the clamp really quickly, widen them, and close the clamp quickly and get on my way. So one of the things that I forgot to mention that I do carry on me in my bag at all times, regardless of the season, is just a bag of filters. I have a few options in here, but this is the one I sort of use the most. It is a K&F Concepts adjustable fader graduated filter. This is going to be particularly useful if you are going to go out and shoot in the snow. A lot of times that bright white of the snow will overexpose your photos, and this will help combat against that so that when you get back to your house and you're playing around in Lightroom or whatever tool you're using, that you're not walking into this with an overexposed photo. So that's something else to sort of keep in mind. So that's going to do it for this episode. I am going to go ahead and link out all of the products that I shared on my Amazon page. So go check that out if you're interested in purchasing any of these items. Obviously great add-ons to your bag if you don't have some of these things already. Otherwise, I'm interested in hearing what you have in your bag or any recommendations that I may have missed. Always great to hear from other folks. Obviously, I don't have all of the answers, so if you do have any suggestions, drop those down in the comments. If you haven't gotten a chance to check out my other 3 episodes, I'm trying to tie these all in together. So if you found this valuable in this episode, go back and check out those first 3. I think you'll find some interesting things in those. Otherwise, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. And again, as always, thank you for joining.